we're back. Welcome back to day 3, the final day of ICE 365 Live and the last day of ICE London 2022. I'm Katie Goldfinch, your studio anchor, bringing you the sights and sounds from XL London. Now, we've made our way through a plethora of gaming industry's leading lights, brought you some exclusive data and insights, as well as shown you fast sways of the show. And we've got even more to bring you today. Let's take a look at the highlights from yesterday.
We're back for day 2 at ICE London 2022, and here's a quick look back at some of today's highlights. Wednesday saw a day of education, networking and mentorship take place as KPMG and the Clarion Gaming team joined forces for the influential Women in Gaming session, celebrating the growing industry diversity with previous winners and nominees, along with environmental, social and governance professionals. Today saw another day of action in the esports arena as the Allied sports truck Big Betty hosted a unique esports tournament, pitching the public online against the full power of the Apex Legends team. This year's Pitch ICE made a welcome return and showcased 14 gaming entrepreneurs and startups representing the continuing changing face of the industry and where sustainability and diversity have taken a more central role. You can catch the pitches yourself in the Pitch ICE area through until the show close. New for 2022, the hosted buyer program got people back together and meeting face to face. It's designed to help the gaming industry decision makers and buyers discover the latest trends and products in the most efficient way by facilitating quality connections between the world's leading gaming suppliers. Wednesday's morning and afternoon masterclasses were also very well attended, with sessions covering how to successfully operate a full product portfolio, how to build a blockbuster slot, managing the risk of crime and fraud in the esports landscape, and looking at the operational, strategic and regulatory musts of doing business in Latin America. So looking to our final day, if you're after a bit of fun, why not check out the Boulevard Taxi photo booth or the City Park Clubhouse? Need some time to chat? Then visit one of the many bars or recharge areas across the venue, or by taking 5 minutes out, try the ICE London Quiet Room in the N3 Lower Organisers office. Remember, this year at ICE London, we're celebrating what it means to be together again, which is why, for the first time in the show's history, we're setting you a challenge. Simply share your ICE London stories with the hashtag #MyIceStory on Facebook or Twitter, at ICE365Global on Instagram. It might be a night out with people you haven't seen for ages, or maybe a snap from your first ever ICE London. Do that, and you'll be in with a chance of winning a £1,000 Amazon gift card. And that's just a small piece of the action from ICE London today. For full details of everything that's taking place this year, of course, get online at ice365.com and ICE365 Global on our social media.
And what a fantastic day 2 it was. And we'll be bringing you an even better day 3. So we're headed back to the Consumer Protection Zone shortly to feature Clarion Gaming's international charity partner, YGAM, as well as one of our Pitch ICE contenders, Better Change. There's also a final trip to the esports arena to look forward to with Ultraplay CEO Marese O'Hagan. We've also got Pentasia joining us and 2 special guests returning to the studio. But first, we're bringing in some of Clarion Gaming's news team. To start the day off, we're going to give you a quick primer of the week's major developments. And I'm joined in the studio by 2 guests to do just that. And so, hello both. I'm joined by Daniel O'Boyle and Marese O'Hagan. How are you both?
Hi,
Good,
I'm
thanks.
great. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. So, is this your first ICE?
For me, no. This is my second ICE. Although my first one, I was still very new to the industry. The last time ICE was held, 2020. So that one was very much a sort of taking it all in sort of event, whereas this one has been a little bit more work, I suppose. But it's, it's great to have events back. With this being my second ICE, the time in between them, a lot of that, I've spent a lot of time in the industry where there hadn't been many events. So it's great to be able to return now to events and be able to meet a lot of people in person that I had only ever talked to over the phone or via Zoom before.
Yeah, it seems such a novelty to be face to face again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Marese?
This is my first ICE, so yeah, it's been really, really fun to kind of see like the scale of the industry, I suppose. I've been working for Clarion for about a year, and in that time, obviously the pandemic, there just haven't been many events on, so it's been really good to kind of take it all in. But yeah, no, we've been really busy, and it's been going really well.
So between you, you've got 3 ICEs under your belt now. And what have you been doing this week? Has it been busy for you both?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of interviews, which has been great because then now we've had a lot of interviews with a lot of the really fantastic, interesting people who've been speaking at IceVox or some big industry heavy hitters who have been exhibiting here. So it means that now we'll have hopefully on the IGB and ICE365 sites, you'll be able to read these interviews in the near future because there have been some really great ones we've been able to get and some other meetings that I think will really help create some really great stuff in the future that you'll be able to read on our sites.
And what about keeping up with the latest news when you're tearing around the Excel? There's so much to go and see and do here, and I'm sure you've had lots of meetings to attend, etc. How do you keep up to date with what's going on out in the outside world?
Well, I suppose it's a mix between, obviously being here a while, there's a lot that you're not able to quite interact with as easily. There's also a lot of people here who you can talk to that are great for keeping up with the news and learning a lot more about what they've been doing. So that, I think, is an opportunity in itself. And then at the same time, we do have a smaller news team who are still keeping our news sites updated with what else has been going on that has maybe been easier to keep track of from a base rather than from here in the Excel.
And anything to add on that, Marese?
Yeah, so it's really just seeing, because I suppose the nature of news, every day is something completely different. So really, you could wake up and there's a huge regulatory change. So it's really just been keeping an eye on that and just making sure everything's flowing really smoothly.
And tell us about your highlights each for the week. What's been your favorite moment?
Really just taking in the size of the industry. I think I mentioned before the scale of it, and I really just can't get over it, physically seeing, all the companies and everything land-based and online and checking out, just all the companies and what they offer and even just newer companies as well, and just really learning as I go. So it's been really fun.
Yeah. I think for me, a chance to pick the brains in person of some of the very interesting people in the industry, especially I spoke to a lot of people who are at WRB, a lot of regulators who were very interesting. It was great to talk to René Janssen, for example, about the Dutch market, speak to Brigitte Sand as well about sort of European regulatory developments in general. There were a lot of just really interesting people that it was just great to be able to talk to in person, and I feel like I was able to learn so much more about industry developments face-to-face in a way that you sometimes can't always get otherwise.
And what about those industry developments? So tell us about the sort of main developments that have taken place over the week that people may have missed whilst they've been at the show.
Well, a big piece of news that broke early in the week was that IGT had agreed to acquire iSoftBet for 160 million euros. So that is a deal that really helps to bolster IGT's online presence. So basically, IGT had last year sort of rethought their focus a little bit. They divested Lottomatica's B2C operations, and they then created a new division for online, breaking that into an entirely separate aspect of the business with its own leadership team. And they brought in really huge names, Joe Asher, Gil Rotem. So they clearly have been very ambitious about online. And then this is sort of a first statement of intent of what they intend to do there. And previously, online had sort of been a smaller part of the business, maybe a bit of an addendum to what they do in both the land-based and the lottery sector. So then this shows that they are making more moves in this area. But I suppose at the same time, if this ambition, it suggests that they want to catch up with the big online first players, the Playtech, Evolution, something like that. But this move is still, IGT's existing digital division plus iSoftBet. It's not necessarily, that itself doesn't make them, I would say, a huge player in digital yet. So I think that's why it's really so interesting, because, here's the thing, if we take it back to 2020, IGT was naturally hit hard by COVID, as a lot of businesses in the sector were. But then last year, they had a hugely successful year. They cut their leverage ratio to the lowest level it had ever been. So this was a company that then was really well primed to do big deals, to make acquisitions. And so if you look at this, you can say, IGT Digital plus iSoftBet is not in itself a big online player, but there's still, I don't think this will be the last we hear of this. If you look at the commitment they've made in these big hires, I imagine there's going to be more where this will come from. There might be another big acquisition, maybe in the platform space. Maybe it'll just be big organic investment, but I think this will be something that'll be really interesting to watch. How does IGT build out this online division?
And Marese, you were going to tell us about Sportradar and Vex, weren't you?
Yeah, so Sportradar has acquired Vex, and Vex is an AI company, artificial intelligence, and they've been partners for the last 2 years. So earlier this week, I was lucky enough to get the chance to speak to Paolo Personeni, who is the managing director of managed betting services at Sportradar. So he was able to give me a little bit more information on that, and he really talked about how it was like a very logical next step to sort of result in an acquisition, that the partnership had gone so well. And Vex, of course, had already been integrated in part into Sportradar's services. So as well as that, artificial intelligence, like a lot of companies are now sort of just becoming more aware of it and are just really, really looking to integrate it where they can, because it's not only just effective for them, it's effective for their customers. It makes everything more efficient. It can be integrated in nearly every area. So it's definitely becoming a very popular offering, and I'm seeing it a lot as well throughout ICE, a lot of artificial intelligence being offered throughout different companies, and companies are really advertising that they're using it now because it's kind of an eye-catching thing now for customers and for operators. So yeah, it's I think we'll see more of that throughout the industry in the next few years.
And what about Bally's and Snip? Any updates there?
Yeah. So Bally's has acquired a minority stake in Snip, which is a marketing, promotions, and loyalty solution provider. So Bally's is now Snip's gaming partner for Gambit, which is its loyalty platform. And so this is really just another testament to Bally's branching out. So like in terms of the loyalty business, it's really a chance to integrate in terms of omni-channel and sort of joining up that online and land-based offering. And as well as that, it helps them sort of further their rewards offerings. Of course, like Caesars is quite a big competitor, and they have a lot of rewards offerings as well, and like in terms of loyalty cards and all that. So it's it really helped them to kind of put their name out there in terms of loyalty and rewards, and hopefully bring in more customers as well.
And there was some news that broke this morning from the Gambling Commission.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Daniel, would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, so this morning the Gambling Commission announced a number of changes that will come into effect in September, basically about how operators need to interact with customers who are deemed to be at risk. So basically, this is the result of a consultation that started all the way back in 2020. So this has been something that has been businesses operating in Great Britain been aware that there had been something that could be happening in this area for a while. That consultation was actually the one where at one point there was a suggestion of a soft affordability cap, perhaps set as low as £100. And that obviously was something that the industry had a lot of very serious concerns about. And thankfully, to the industry's relief, that was something that then the Commission began to suggest it was deprioritizing. It stopped talking about it when it was talking about this consultation. But now there have been these new rules that will come into effect that basically outline that operators need to be robust in the way that they identify and then interact with customers who are deemed to be high risk. But the thing is, right now, if you read these rules that as they are right now, it'll say things that operators need to flag indicators of harm and take action in a timely manner. I mean, you would hope that operators are already flagging indicators of harm, taking action in a timely manner. It's not entirely clear what this means right now. It sounds like the Commission has some other definition of this that might differ from how it had handled the issue of interaction previously. But we won't really know exactly what this means in a lot of areas until June. In June, we'll see more clarity, more guidance, where hopefully the Gambling Commission will explain what do they mean by an at-risk player in terms of actual definitions in terms of spend. They said, or player behavior, they've said to look at certain indicators such as spend, such as the way in which a player plays, but they haven't really said what the thresholds should be. And without that, if these rules were to just come into force without any clear guidance, I imagine it would be a fairly chaotic situation. So hopefully Great Britain operators will be able to see a bit more clarity on this and understand what they will actually mean in June. Because we've seen a lot of the time a lack of clarity has sort of led to a lot of problems in terms of these issues around interaction. Like earlier this year, 888 received a very big fine. Basically, it had a lot to do with the fact that they had set thresholds for interactions at a level that the Gambling Commission decided was too high, and they were taking action when customers reached these thresholds, but the Commission decided that they were too high. And so, that's something that if there isn't clarity on exactly what at-risk means and what flagging indicators of harm, what taking action means, what timely manner means, then this isn't going to be, could be pretty chaotic. But I imagine we will see a lot more clarity on this in the near future. Obviously, we'll also see the Gambling Act white paper in the near future, so the two might sort of come in tandem. Right now, the one area where it does seem there is some clarity is that it says that these customers who are deemed to be at risk, that operators shouldn't market to them, and that includes that operators, third-party partners, shouldn't market to them. So we may have to see we'll still have to see exactly what that means in terms of it'll obviously have to address more direct marketing rather than untargeted marketing. But it seems like that will be the key point right now. And then in the future, we'll see this develop and hopefully get a bit more guidance on exactly what it will mean. Where is it that operators will need to react, when and how?
It seems like June's a long time to wait to know what that means.
Yeah, I suppose it is, especially considering that the consultation had been out for a long time, so the guidance perhaps could have been developed earlier. So I imagine that there's a feeling that the Gambling Commission probably wants to see how the Gambling Act review develops a little bit and see whether there's going to be certain other rules that are imposed through that. If there was a soft affordability cap imposed through the Gambling Act review, then these rules would have to come in tandem with that. So I imagine that that's the reason for the wait.
Thank you both, Marese and Daniel, for coming on and giving us some insights from the Clarion Gaming news team. Up next, we're going over to the Consumer Protection Zone, so stay tuned.